Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very tall corporate leader from Mumbai, India, Mr. Shrijeet Mishra. Shrijeet, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Shrijeet is a digital evangelist, a sustainability advocate, and a CX customer experience specialist. He's currently the Chief Innovation Officer and Head Group Services at the Aditya Birla Group. Shrijeet has been recognized as one of Constellation BT's 150 leaders chosen for 2022. And given the amazing amount of work he's done over the years, understandably, Shrijeet has been felicitated, awarded, and recognized several times. So Shrijeet, before we get into anything else, I want to ask you to tell us about your own journey in brief from your early days at Hindustan Unilever to your current role.
Ashu, first of all, thank you for calling me here. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's very interesting. Sometimes when I look back, it almost seems like yesterday that I started.
Correct.
38th, I'm on the 38th year of my work. So it's been 37 and a half years of absolute fun. Lots of things that I've done, enjoyed, learned from people. Of those 37 and a half years, about 24 and a half, 25 with Unilever. So I started as a management trainee on the management committee. Then I moved on to running Times of India for about 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun too. And then I have been with this organization, Aditya Birla, for about a little over 6 years now.
Amazing.
In terms of very simply putting what I really enjoyed in Unilever, I learned the fundamentals of how to do a business.
Right.
And how to interact, how to create. I mean, I'm thankful to HUL and my friends. None of these companies are buildings or walls. They're people. To teach you the right values, the right ways of working, the effort that you put in, how to put in that effort, which is smart effort, etc., etc. And the second thing from HUL was tremendous number of friends. That's the thing that I picked from HUL. And so I have a lot of respect for HUL and a love for my friends back there who were then there and who are now there.
Correct.
In Times of India, it was a fun 6.5 years. I learned in 6.5 years what I had not learned in HUL for 25 years.
Right.
I mean, the category was different. The exposure to different categories was very different. And it gave me a very good sense of how corporates, politics, and media actually work. Very, very high amount of those days. What to do and what not to do. That's my thing. And from this organization, it's been very new categories. I never thought when I came in, I thought, Mr. Birla, why is he picking me up? But honestly, in each of these three organizations, I have learned more than I've given back in many ways. But one thing I take back with me beyond my own learning is tremendous amount of friends.
Absolutely.
And I really, really cherish friendship, in my life. That makes a big difference.
How wonderful. And over the years between Unilever, Times of India, and your current Aditya Birla Group, how has your own leadership philosophy evolved over the years, especially with regard to turning around large global businesses?
Yeah. So, I was very lucky to find my own guru at the age of 20 when I was an IMA. Very surprising, but I was in IIM Ahmedabad when I found my guru.
Amazing.
And it was Samli Baba, who I would recommend that every young person should. And the definition of a guru for me is very clear. Not somebody who wears a Gero Avastra and wears things like that. No. It's somebody whom you can ask stupid questions without being judged.
Correct.
And you can ask them again and again and again till you get the answer. So my leadership experience philosophy has been in this space of a purpose-driven thing. Give more than you take in any relationship. Because when you give more than you take, it builds that relationship.
Correct.
If you take more than you give, it doesn't. And therefore, in many ways, You must enable people to be collaborative, inclusive. You must empower people to work, create an environment for them that allows free experimentation. Because as I said before, to succeed, fail you must.
Absolutely.
Fail small, but fail you must. If you're not failing in your work and in your pieces, you're not stretching enough, is the way I look at it. And therefore, you've got to be accessible and open in communication, but allow that freedom, allow that for high impact outcomes to be felt and valued. You make sure that the employee feels valued and feels heard. And I think those are the ways I have actually taken my philosophy over a period of time. From, in simple words, give more than you take.
Fascinating. Great response. So, Shrij, now let's talk about your current role as a digital evangelist, a sustainability advocate, and a customer experience specialist. Tell me a little bit more about how do you see digital transformation shaping the D2C industry?
Look, the D2C industry is at the forefront of digital transformation, and its growth has been driven by several factors. As you see the world changing. The first is personalization. I mean, everybody is looking for personalized experiences, right? What is right for me may not be right for you, but the way I want it, you may not want it that way. It's about personalization, customized approaches. That's number one. Number two, it's about seamless journeys. Now, whether I'm in the digital world or I'm in the physical world, I mean, the whole game has become phygital now. I don't think there are very few that are either completely digital or completely physical. It's a phygital world. And how do you allow consumer seamless journey? How do you allow me and yourself to have seamless journeys through this? Correct. Is another, which is consistent and frictionless. That's a second. The third is there's so much of data, both from inside the organization and outside the organization. How do you create decision through inciting by mining both the data inside and the data outside? The whole game of fourth point is the entire game of servicing. It's no longer a product or an experience. It's a service. It's a direct engagement. It is about how you take it to a next level. It is, from our perspective in this company, we start by looking at everything. Nothing is called B2B in our company. Everything is B2C. There's a C at the end of every B2B as well. We have very strong consumer businesses, but we have B2B businesses. But there is a consumer at the end of every B2B business. So you must understand the consumer's consumer. Correct. And consumer customer centricity is the key. What is the pain point? Whose pain point are you trying to resolve? Is the crucial way of understanding the needs, behavior, and their pain points. Then how do you make sure that everything else works around that to deliver a solution that is better in terms of driving a sustainable business, where you take less than what you give back to nature. Those are the two ways that we work on. And digital is at the core of our innovation strategy. It's not something, or sustainability. Both these are at the core of our strategy. So if you look at an A model of growth, on one side, what is the consumer customer pain point? On the other side, how do you drive the solution more sustainably? And in the middle are all enablers. Digital is an enabler. So, partnerships is an enabler. Innovation is an enabler. How do you look at digital and sustainability as a core thinking process in the innovation strategy? And to drive competitive advantage through digital and drive competitive advantage through sustainability is the way we are actually fostering our growth forwards. The last and not the least is partnerships. Partnerships can be with big companies. Partnership can be with startups. And startups are not your organization. They're not employees. And large organizations have this very strange way of working where they don't know how to. For a startup guy, that's his world, yeah. And he believes that's the most important thing in the world. So explore solutions along with startups, whether it's coming from academia, from VCs, from wherever, whichever mode, to adopt and get knowledge, which is at a much faster rate, to get faster in emerging technologies, using them, etc. And therefore, it needs a very important aspect of how you look at things, which is cross-functional collaboration.
Very well said.
Very important cross-functional collaboration is the crucial in the future.
Very well said. So, Shrijit, given the amount of technology that is being seen by all of you as leaders in large corporates, the consumer is also experiencing a big change on digitization. Based on all your experience, how has consumer behavior evolved in recent years?
So the first thing that's happened is that the journeys have changed.
Correct.
Rather than just being digital or physical, it's actually an interplay. It keeps going back and forth between digital and physical. Lot more complexity has happened in terms of how consumers are uh, either uh, getting aware about something or are choosing their needs, right? And therefore, in many ways, there is a huge change in the complexity of how things have moved. It is very important that we understand that the story of the consumer is also changing in their own way. They were, if you look at India of the past, they were aspirers and they were middle class. They are now, the whole world is looking at India as a consumption boom. So this whole game of shifting from aspirers to middle class led consumption is another big shift. Due to this age of information overload and being bombarded with content from every parts of the world, I believe we must start focusing on not just market share, but mind share. The ability to be not just top of mind, but co-create along with people.
Correct.
If you do not co-create, and if you become one-sided or maybe two-sided for a little while, the interest weans off very quickly. So you have to find a way of co-creating things with consumers.
Correct.
The second bit is all about personalization, which I talked in the past as well. It is about saying consumers expect brands to understand their needs and deliver tailored experiences.
Right.
Now, this is crucial. If you don't have a tailored experience, consumer would not enjoy that experience with you. It has to be what I need. Back to some of the pieces of it's my signature on it. That's what consumers look for. Thirdly, it's not yet happened, but will happen. It's not yet happened to the extent that it should, but it's beginning to happen. It is about consumerism, conscious consumerism. And I think this move towards today, what's happening is most of the people are still, a large proportion, I would say even more than 90% people are still buying products which are not necessarily sustainable. Because the benefit, they're not willing to pay a premium on sustainable.
Correct.
Let me put it that way. They are willing to buy a sustainable product, everything being equal. Right? So this whole move towards brand purpose, ethics, sustainable development, with strong personal values of the brand and the brand and the person who's creating that brand is going to be very important in the future, and therefore driving sustainable solutions in the future. With a difference for which I'm willing to pay premium.
Well said. Well said. But a follow-up question for you, Shrijit, is that how can an organization leverage innovation to create customer-centric solutions and also address sustainability?
Yeah. So, I think the first thing we should understand is that if you are thinking the A model of growth, right? What is the pain point that you're trying to resolve?
Yeah.
Whose pain point? And what is the pain point? And is the solution more sustainable, right? I think the fundamental point is how do you generate more demand for sustainable products? Let me take an example. Let me take an example on a story.
Right.
Today, the reason why people don't buy something different, but in a category like EVs, you have a green badge for your car.
Right.
When you're driving by, everybody knows and sees and says, you know what, Ashutosh is a person who believes in this piece. Now, at least there is a badge value to it. forget if there is a benefit or not to me directly. There is. In the case of EVs, the benefit is in some way a lesser OPEX cost, right? There is a benefit to it. But there is how do you grow that demand for personalization, the demand for sustainable products is going to be a big challenge for the future. That's one big area. And therefore, sustainability and digital to be priority, first thing you to look at is consumer inciting. And it has to be new age inciting.
Correct.
Like I said, the journeys have changed completely from being physical. During our time when I was in HUL, all the norms of marketing in many ways are being questioned today. All that we thought and we did today, if we applied them in the same way as we did then, it'll all fail. Reality, it's a new world and you have to start doing things differently. And I keep telling people here in this organization, it's not about digital literacy alone. It is also about AI literacy. And I'm keeping them in two different buckets. Because AI and digital, while they seem to be a subset of the other, one will drive the shift in the other much faster. And in some ways, we have to be both digital literate and AI literate. And I think, therefore, in the shift to digital, how do you make the presence robust, responsive, and user-friendly? By using AI to have a starting point, at least for thinking as to what can happen. You need not take the decision through AI. Don't implement the decision through AI, but at least have a starting point where you can think the complex pieces to include and take forward. Last but not the least, people are moving from being price sensitive. So the new age inciting is clearly telling us that pricing is important, but value is even more important. From price sensitivity, we are moving to more value conscious people who are not just driven by price.
Right.
And therefore, that's going to be an important thing in the future. So I think from an overall perspective, I would think it is the inciting is becoming very different from before, because the new age world, you're both physical and digital, your journeys have changed. I mean, when I looked at data, people told me, let's create value out of data within the organization. I said, you'll know about Ashutosh by not looking at the organization only, but looking at outside data as much as, because you spend a long time in the outside world as well. So how can you combine the value of inciting from both inside data and outside data? I think this whole journey, consumer journey, digital world is one. Sustainability we talked about is the third. The AI bit is the third one that I think, and the fourth one is price sensitivity.
Very well said. And just coming back to AI, your response on AI gives me a segue to my next question. You lead technology, you're a digital evangelist, you talk about customer experience. How can organizations or leaders leverage AI and technology to enhance customer experience?
Great question. It's a great question. Look, I'm a believer that technology is here for the good.
Yeah, absolutely.
My personal view, it's my very, very strong personal view, that if you manage the technology well, every technology will lead to an upswing for the world. Okay. Same way AI as well. And I'm keeping a word called manage well, and I'll come back to that later, what I mean. Very important. When we thought of computers coming in and, the WWW coming in, when we started work, we had said, naukri chali jayegi. Finished. Jobs are all gone.
Correct.
Look at the number of jobs that have come up after that.
Absolutely.
So the new world will come in, and that's a new world that will come in now. I think fundamentally, technology in some way has to be harnessed for the right things. So let's look at, we talked about inciting in the last question. In a D2C context, I will take an example, a story to tell you. And I'm rewinding back to 1996, 95, 96.
Yeah.
To handle the category of women launching the Vim Bar. And Vim Bar was rocking. At that time, Nitin had launched the Vim Bar, and it was really beginning to rock. And we were thinking, how do we take it to the next level? And it was going at about 25, 30,000 tons. We said, how do we take it 100,000? It was rocking. People said, why are you wasting your time? Give us the product. So when the product is doing well, that's when you should know what's the next level. Not when it's on its way down.
Correct.
So what we started doing was, we went to consumers after consumers. I mean, question that you have to ask. Nothing changes unless you start spending time with consumers directly. So you used to go to the houses, see them. What they did were, and there was a girl called Priyali, who was a management trainee. I really thank Priyali many times over. Priyali Rajgopal at that time. She said, look, have you noticed, Shrijeet, what they do? I said, what? Every time they finish their cleaning of the utensils, they put the Vim bar and they strain the liquid off the plate. So I said, wow, why would you think this is happening? It's because it's taking away from the, so what did you do? What did you do? In the next launch, you put a little plastic at the bottom. Minor. And I go back to that because it was not just listening, it was also observing.
Correct.
We won't come to that insight unless we observed. So there is a value of observation that will never go. You cannot get it from data. You have to think of how you can create technology to create emotion out of data.
Right.
Mantra is, how do you create emotion out of data? Have a starting point. AI and machine learning, omni-channel integration, AR, VR, all these need to be used. Real-time analytics, all this will come in. You have to use this to make life easier and have a starting point. What it will not take away is your ability to create creatively solutions that are more sustainable for the future. I think that's the way I would look.
Great response. So I have time for two more questions. My next question is that as you look ahead, what trends do you see in the future of digital commerce and customer experience?
So I think there are certain things that don't change. First of all, let's understand what doesn't change. I have a very simple rule called 6 by 6 by 6 by 4. Now, the first 6 is that no decision consumer makes happens without the 5, our senses, 5 senses, or the last 6th sense is the emotional sense. So see, touch, smell, taste, the basic senses, hear, basic 5 senses and the emotion. Any decision that you make, Ashutosh, that is not going to change. The second is, how do we ensure that the consumer is very simple? She is looking for few things. How do I present myself better?
Correct.
How do I stay healthy? How do I stay connected with friends?
Right.
Physically or virtually through mobile phones or physically through travel? Fourth, do I have a nice home? Fifth, do I have wellness, what is called my kid better than me? Nobody in the world wants the kid to be worse than them.
Correct.
Number 2, my investment should grow. Nobody wants your investment to drop.
Absolutely.
I have found a single guy who says, my investment is dropping, it's okay. Third, do I have a social standing beyond work? Am I respected for what I do, etc. So there are commonalities that will not change. And there are 6 technologies at any point in time. Third 6 is the technology. There are 6 technologies. If you ask my father or my grandfather, they will tell you 6 technologies in their lifetime. Today, every 5 years, 6 technologies are coming. And these 6 technologies are here to stay. How do you combine these 3 at any point of time to help the consumer live her life better? And I'm using a word her only because I'm strongly embedded into Unilever. It says the faster men realize that they don't take any decisions. It's taken by the family and the kids. Better they will be for the world, will be a better place to be.
Very well.
So in many ways, there are things that don't change. But things that will change, need for actionable insights that are faster. How do you manage insights in this new world? Analytics will help you understand the market trends, consumer behavior, and operational efficiencies. These need to guide our strategic decisions. That's first. Second, risk management. There will be predictive analytics. We can anticipate risks and develop strategies to mitigate them. But are they really looking at the market fluctuation that will happen? So you have to envision the future. You have to think about how the future market fluctuation will be, what supply chain disruptions would come, or what consumer shifts are likely to happen, or you can help make happen.
Right.
Fourth is all about performance measurement. Data analytics allows us to look at this in many ways through, you can have the eyes of optimization on one side and transformation on the other. And last and not the least, by analyzing what you're doing through data, you can actually optimize resources that are being used so that you can give back more than you take.
Very well said. Very well said. And my last question for you, Shrijeet, and this is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation, and most of them are young, under 34 people. Given your incredible journey, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want a lot of our viewers and listeners to take away from your journey?
Wow, I wish I could, pack them into 3. It's a very, very interesting question that you ask. I think first is there's nothing. Life is important only if you have a very purpose-led life. I would strongly urge you I'm not saying adopt the purpose of give more than you take in any relationship, but having a purpose of why you work, whom you work for, makes a big difference. That's the first point I would make. It's a point number 0, if I may.
Okay.
In many ways. To me, it's the fundamentals and the basics. The first, number 1 would be cultivate a customer-centric mindset. Putting the customer first, you can create products, services, and experiences that resonate with them, build loyalty, and drive growth for you. They will drive the growth for you. You don't have to. So cultivate a customer-centric mindset. Second, it's a life of continuous learning. Learning and also failing. So if you are not flexible in learning, if you're not wanting to learn enough, I know it all, kills you, absolutely kills you.
Right.
And then I don't want to fail, I want to succeed every time. Kills you. So how do you make sure that you fail? Fail fast, fail small, but fail you must to be successful, to succeed in life.
Yeah.
And a very important thing is define your own success. Don't go by what people define success in this world. And it's very important to define your own success and have your own model of growth. For example, in my success model and for my purpose, I've said I prioritize the A model of growth. Identify the consumer pain point, think sustainably in your business strategy, and leverage partnerships, innovation, and digital to create value for the consumer and customer.
Very interesting.
So those were the 3 with that sub point of saying purpose at the heart of whatever you do.
Absolutely. And on that note, Shrijeet, and your amazing lessons starting with lead a purpose-led life. You spoke about cultivate a customer-centric mindset. You spoke about be a continuous learner. And what was even the most powerful of them all was define your own success. Thank you, Shrijeet, for talking to me about your own amazing journey. Thank you for speaking to me about digital and how digital is changing or can affect customer services. We did speak a little bit about sustainability. I loved the few points that you spoke to me and some buzzwords from you: to succeed, fail you must. Second, you said was think not of market share, but of mind share. And I love what you told me about the 6x6x6x4 rules, and you enunciated them so clearly and so cogently for our viewers. You also spoke about Times of India, and I'm hoping someday I will talk to you again on your learnings, because that was a very different part of your journey.
Very different.
We'll schedule something different for you on the TOI journey separately. But thank you, Shrijeet, for speaking to me. All the very best in everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Ashutosh. What a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Lovely talking to you. It was a very, very free-flowing and open chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.